Hey everyone, welcome to the Vienna Whyte Roundtable Season 1, Episode 22. I'm your host, Millie Rouge from the band Vienna Whyte here in Edmonton, Alberta. This roundtable is a YEG music production. Thank you all for being a part of the show. We have 3 incredible female guests here that I'm super excited to chat with. Can we start with Caitlin? Can you introduce yourself to the audience today?
Hello everybody, I'm Caitlin, or Cicaeda is my stage name, and I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, and yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the show. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. And Naomi, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Naomi. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I go under the stage name Naomi, so say my first name, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And Lucia?
Hello everybody, I'm Lucia. I'm from London, even Italian, but okay. I'm really happy to be here and to talk with these nice ladies.
Awesome. Okay, so ladies, what I want to kind of do is go through with each of you, and I want you all to kind of tell me in 2 minutes or less about your musical journey and kind of how you got from your start to where you are now in about 2 minutes. I know that's kind of a short time, but if you can. Why don't we start off with Lucia? Why don't you tell us a little about your musical career so far?
I'm a violinist performing for solo shows and as a session musician. So I started from Italy in 2015 with my solo shows in geek events and video games music, film music, doing my solo shows with backing tracks. Then I did lots of concerts. I went to the Luca Comics and Games, one of the most important events in Italy, with 2,000 people in front of me. I was like, oh my God, okay. Then I decided to move to London because here there are lots of opportunities for musicians and I'm really enjoying my time here. I'm knowing lots of nice people, doing lots of live shows when I could. And yeah.
That's amazing. That's
That's
really
it.
awesome. That's perfect because you ladies all are going to be talking about stage performance today, and I think you'll have some really good insights. So, Naomi, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of your musical career that you've had so far?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I've always kind of been interested in music when I was super young. I started piano lessons when I was like 3 or 4, and I was really into like performing from that age. But I was a super shy kid. So like in class and stuff, I wouldn't like to talk. I'd be very like to myself. But when I got on stage, I'd kind of be like, okay, this is my space. I can kind of express myself a little more. So I kind of fell in love with music and performing like super young. And then I just did like talent shows on and off, kind of, posting stuff on YouTube, very informal, for, my tween years, if you will. And then I got started in writing my own music, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I released my first single a year and a half ago, and I have a band together now. We kind of do some live performances and stuff, and I hope to be able to do this as a career for the rest of my life. So that's the goal.
Yes, of course. I want to quickly ask, what do you label your genre as?
That's a trick. I don't know. Honestly, I kind of go between like indie pop and alternative pop.
Okay.
Kind of, and a little pop rock too. It's kind of
cool.
Kind of all over the place. But
I got a rock vibe, so I wanted to ask you before I like assumed, because I really just wanted to know what your opinion was. So that's very, very cool. Thank you.
Sure,
and Caitlin, do you want to tell us about your journey with your music?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I would say that I started off pretty young as well, like Naomi. I was doing musicals in middle school. I remember those were like a very big highlight for me, but I was actually a competitive skier at the time. So I was doing alpine skiing and my focus wasn't entirely on music. So my performing focus, I guess, kind of took a spotlight as I got older. So I decided to start writing music in like 2015-ish, I guess I'd say. So I guess 5 years ago now. Wow, that's crazy. But and then I finally started putting a stage name together and everything and performing as my stage name in 2017. So that was
very nice. Very nice. Thank you everyone for sharing about your musical journeys. I just wanted to quickly tell you ladies, because you might not know a whole lot about me. My name's Millie Rouge. I'm a part of the band Vienna Whyte. So there's 2 of us in the band. If you guys are scheduled for any of our Instagram live streams, you will be meeting Marissa, my other bandmate. So we're an indie pop, kind of like you, Naomi. We're an indie pop band here in Edmonton. So we've been doing these roundtable talks and our live streams just because it's like a really cool way to meet everyone while everyone is not working. So it's been a lot of fun. So I want to ask you all our first question about our topic today, which is live stage performance confidence. When I looked at all of your ladies' Instagrams, I saw just like, that was the first thing that stuck out to me, was looking at all of your live performance videos, you all just ooze confidence. So I want from you ladies to kind of hear your tips and tricks of how you kind of got to that place in your lives. Because I know even still, I myself struggle with stage confidence. It's not an easy thing to do. It's just takes time. But I think you ladies have a pretty good grip on it so far. So what would you say your confidence level was at the beginning of your career to now? So what helped you kind of to improve that confidence and to really kind of build that stage banter and the stage confidence that you have to this day? Do you want to start this off, Caitlin, and we'll kind of go around to whoever wants to respond to the question.
For sure. Yeah, so I would definitely say that my confidence, funnily enough, started out pretty high because I was used to playing characters in musical theater.
Right.
But then when I started performing solo, I found, oh my God, I have all of this stage fright. And how do I kind of harness that and use it in a good way?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I can say that I get pretty nervous still when I go and perform, but even though that might not show, I think that definitely repetitive, like keep doing it, like just doing it over and over again helps me gain the confidence to keep doing it. And so basically just doing it a lot and like getting over that fear and like harnessing that nervous energy, it really helps to be confident on stage, in my opinion.
Now, you said you did some sports. Now, I'm curious to know, because music and sports, believe it or not, can very tie into each other. When you had kind of any like practices or competitions, do you have the same kind of fear you have with like performing music, or is it a little bit different?
I'd say it's pretty similar. You get that nervous, like gut feeling, like you kind of want to throw up, but you don't at the same time. But yeah, it's definitely the feeling of adrenaline and the rush that you get from being on stage. I don't know if it's the same for all of you ladies, but I find that like when I finished a run, when I was skiing, and same thing, when you come off stage, you're like on this high, and just like the energy is so phenomenal, and I love that. So It's kind of like one of the motivators to push through that nervousness.
Yeah. I find I get that adrenaline rush for sure, but I also get super hungry. Like after I'm finished a set, I am starving.
Yes.
I need like a cheeseburger, fries, like a milkshake. I'm ready to devour everything. And I don't know what about it, why it makes me that way, but it just does. So
I feel that.
Now, Naomi, I'm curious to know kind of how your stage performance has evolved since you've started.
Yeah, so like I said before, I was a super shy kid, and even like going into my early teens, I was just very like to myself. And I feel like at the beginning of my performance, kind of even before I was doing my own stuff, more like covers and stuff and doing like talent shows, I would have this mentality of like, I just want to get through this so that I can say that I've done it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there to like enjoy it. I'm like freaking out. And I'm like, just get through it, just finish, and like you can say you did this. Yeah. And I feel like, right? And I feel like it's super, like it's not, I don't know, like as I got older and I was like, I want to be enjoying this. Like this is like what I love. I want to be on stage and be like, just kind of let everything go and be in the moment and actually enjoy the performance. So I think a big thing for me now that I perform, I'm like, okay, I have this amount of time in a set. I want to be up there enjoying every single moment and really put my all and just have a good time for myself too, you know?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think most times we are performing for our friends and family. So it's like, I don't know why we get so nervous as we do.
Yes.
But it feels like it's like, it should be easy, but it's almost harder in a weird way. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I would rather sing in front of complete strangers I don't know than my friends and family. They'll judge me more, I swear. And Lucia, can you tell us about kind of, I know you were talking a little bit about it in your introduction, but how you kind of got to be where you are now with your stage performance and your confidence and playing solos and everything. How did you get to that level in your career?
I started playing violin when I was really little. I was 7 years old, and we had little concerts for families, friends, etc. It was really, really hard for me. I was like 10 years, 11 years, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a violinist. No, stop. And then little by little, with the experience, I started to enjoy the moments so much that I decided to play the music I really loved for people, for everybody. Because when you play the music you love really, it's like showing your real self. And when you show your real self, you feel little by little more confident, and you start to accepting even your inner self. And it's like living another life when you start to enjoy the moment on the stage.
Yeah.
And people sees a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's like, I think to me, it's like, I know a lot of artists say this, the original music is like a diary or like a journal. So to expose that kind of side of your original creativity is huge. So I think anyone that gets on a stage, they shouldn't be nervous, because it's like, you already just standing on that stage is like a huge accomplishment, I think. But, and it's really personal. So I think if we can rock that with confidence, that's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing thing. Now, is there any performances that maybe you ladies have seen? This could be like through a big celebrity or even like a local artist. Was there anything that you really didn't like that they did on the stage, and what bothered you about the performance, and what would maybe you change if you were that person in their shoes? I know it's kind of like a tough question, but I like to kind of add some spice to the conversation. So it's not all butterflies and unicorns. So if anyone's had an experience kind of where they've seen us at a live show, or maybe something like that. Do you have something, Lucia, kind of an experience of what you saw?
Yeah, absolutely. About a really big band, metal, heavy metal band, progressive metal. It's Dream Theater. I don't know if you know it. They are perfect. When they play, they are technically perfect. But when you see them live, you see people stop it on their place, playing perfectly, but they don't move, they don't express their real self, they don't, I don't know, it's like they are there, but they are not showing their real self. So it's strange. When I play, for example, I move a lot on the stage. I like to move and to do strange faces, etc. But when I see people that doesn't do anything different from only playing or singing, staying there without doing anything else, it's a little bit, I don't know, cold.
Yeah, it's really hard to get into a performance when someone's very static, for sure. And it's hard as an audience member to kind of, you're like, I'm confused. Like, are they enjoying this or are they suffering? I can't really tell. So I think I've seen a lot of performances like that. So that's a really good point. Naomi, have you ever had an experience similar where you just, something didn't vibe in the show that you were watching of the artist?
Yeah, actually, the first thing that came to mind, I love her, not to whatever, but I saw Selena Gomez in concert a couple of years ago. And I really love her as a person. I think her music is awesome, but I felt like it was more of like, she was kind of like in her own space and not really interacting with the audience that much. So I didn't feel super connected to the show in that sense. So that was one thing that I kind of mentally was like, okay, I want to make sure I interact with the audience. That's super important for my own shows if I want to kind of do that.
Yeah, that's cool that you took an experience that was a little bit negative and we're like, I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to make this better in my own performance. Totally. I really love that. Caitlin, what about yourself?
So similar to Naomi, I saw, I don't know if you guys know who Lennon Stella is. She was on Nashville. She's from Toronto. Awesome. She's awesome. Love her music. Her new album, phenomenal. So good. All the tears, all the emotions. But anyway, I saw her in concert in Toronto with the Chainsmokers last summer. And honestly, she's so good. And the thing is she is so good, but she doesn't have that. It's funny that we're talking about stage confidence, but I felt like she was very nervous and she kept to herself on the stage and she felt inferior. At one point she said thank you guys for coming early to see me. And I'm like, girl, you are part of the show. You open that show. You do this thing. This is your show too. I bought tickets primarily to see her. So, and like the thing is some of these artists don't know that necessarily when they're opening for people, but at the same time, like, I think she just needed to be more confident. And like, again, I haven't seen the end of her tour. Like, that was the very beginning of the tour. So it's possible that she grew a lot on tour, but I didn't get to see that. Absolutely. But yeah, definitely, like Neomi said, like using that experience in my own interactions with people on stage, it's like, you got to be confident in yourself because you are there for a reason. And you're there to entertain the folks, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Even if someone's not there for the show to see you, I think it's still important to try and reach out to those people with your stage performance, because they could end up leaving that concert being like, wow, like I don't even know that person, but that was like the best performance I've seen. Yes. I know myself, right? I went to Canadian Music Week in Toronto 2 or 3 years ago. It was quite a while ago now. But I saw this artist named Lolo Zoe. And she's actually a French and English artist. I think she's born in Paris, but she's also has like Lebanese culture as well. But she put on like the best performance I think I've ever seen from a live artist. And she literally used tracks. She had no band. She was just a track, which is, you would think would be like the worst performance you've ever seen, but just her stage energy, how much fun she was having, how she didn't care. I've now been like an avid fan of hers for 2 to 3 years. So I think it really says something that your performance can have like a massive effect just on your fans, right? So yeah. Now my next question kind of ties into the same thing we were talking about. So rather than really crappy performances, I'm curious to know what your favorite stage performance is and which artist you look up to who has really good high energy and like who just oozes stage confidence. Who are your favorite artists and why? Did you want to start this off, Neomi? Kind of we'll go that way around.
Yeah, sure. So the first person, I was actually thinking about this person when you asked the other question, like as a reverse. So Camila Cabello, I love her. I think she has such good energy. Like I've seen her only once or twice live, but she is just, the way she interacts with people, the way she has like such a good time on stage. And I feel like every show that I've seen like on YouTube and stuff, people upload of her is so different. Like she puts the effort in to really like spice it up and kind of keep it interesting, and I guess for herself too, not be bored because you're on tour for like a month 2 months, you want to like keep it interesting, right? So and she released this like mini tour documentary in the beginning of her career before Havana and everything, and she was kind of like, I remember the first couple of nights of this tour I was so nervous, but then I realized people aren't out there just like judging you, they're out here to have a good time, they want to have a good time with you. And that kind of stuck with me, so I feel like I really look up to her for that.
Yeah, and she's quite young too, and she already has like such good stage confidence. I think being from, well, of course she was part of the Fifth Harmony band before, so that obviously helps, but she's a really, really good, I think, person to look up to for confidence. Lucia, who's one of your favorite artists who's really good at stage performing and moving around with energy?
Lindsay Sterling, I don't know if you know her. It's a violinist that does dubstep music, even rock music, and she has such an energy on the stage. She dances, she plays the violin, she sings, and when you see her dance with lots of dancers with her and playing the violin, she's really, really awesome, and she gives lots of positive energy to their
I think I know who you're talking about. I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. She's crazy. Like she's crazy.
She's
good.
really crazy. She's
crazy
American.
Yeah, that's why she's crazy. And Caitlin, what about you? Who's kind of your artist that you look up to yourself?
Currently, I guess it used to be Taylor Swift. Oh, hail Taylor Swift! Yes,
yeah,
but
she's amazing.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. But I think right now, I guess my focus, my sight is on Halsey. I saw her first in concert. I ended up getting tickets to an exclusive concert that you had to win your way into, and it was like 1,000 or 2,000 people there, so it was like super small. Everybody was on the floor, but the way she played, like she brought so much energy. Even if she was singing to track, like she did have a band there as well, but like she's dancing in between her songs where you don't think that you could dance, you know what I mean? And that stage energy and the confidence that she brings, like she's literally rocking out on stage. I don't know how she does it, you know what I mean? It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, she's really cool, and she's kind of that upcoming, well, now she's definitely I think she's kind of surpassed that upcoming artist, but it's really really cool to see the transformation people have when they first start out to then being like their Taylor Swift level, kind of like you were saying, like she's the coolest and she has the best stage presence. I'm like a major Taylor Swift fan, so anyone that talks about her, I'm like, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think she puts a really good like impression too for like younger female artists too, which I'm all for. So now my next kind of question is steering towards how you kind of prepare to get to this stage performance. So what are some of your pre-rituals or some things you do before a show to kind of hype yourself up to say, okay, this is going to be a great show, I'm going to have a lot of energy, I need to practice my stage banter? What are some kind of things that you do before a show to get to that level? Do you want to start it off, Caitlin, maybe on some pre-rituals you have?
Sure. So I guess warming up. I hope everybody warms up in some capacity. I used to be bad for not going on stage and warming up, so I need to get better at that. And I have found that surprisingly, you perform way better when you've warmed up. What?
Yeah.
What? Anyway, so warming up, I like to eat at least 2 hours in advance, because I find that if not, I just don't feel good, and I'm also worried about everything happening. So again, those like that nervous energy pre-stage. I've also found that I tend to organize a lot of the shows that I've been playing, so I find that I have put a little bit more stress on myself on stage day, if you will. So I'm trying to organize different people, but I'd say that like getting a grip and like doing all the organization in advance is definitely super helpful.
Absolutely. Lucia, what are some kind of pre-rituals that you have before a show?
Pre-ritual, 30 minutes earlier than the show, I have to be alone and I don't have to talk to anyone, because if someone talks to me, I'm like, I cannot hear you. I have to be focused on what I am going to do, what I'm going to communicate to people. So it's like talking to a cat, you know. And warming up as well, I think is the best way to have a great show. I agree with you totally. And also the same day of the show, I have to do nothing. Really, literally nothing. I prepare everything the day before, the days before, but the same day I don't have to think about anything, because it's like being stressed without stress. It's only energy, lots of energy, and you have to be focused, I think.
Yeah, I think it's actually super harmful to practice on the day of your performance, because I think it just messes with everything you've prepared for. And I don't know why. I don't know what the science behind it is, but I actually feel worse. Like if I don't know lyrics very well, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go on stage and whatever happens, happens. Because I think if the day you perform, you practice, it just, you're a lost cause.
It's useless. Yeah, it's true.
Naomi, what are some pre-rituals you have before a big live show?
So I have two kind of things that I do before I go on stage. First thing is I like my band and I do this thing where we shake off the nerves. So we have like a little kind of like just dancey kind of thing, because I feel like I have like so much like pent up energy before I go on stage that I just start shaking. So if I'm like if I'm myself shaking, I'm like just start like hopping around and kind of like shake off the energy. It looks silly, but you know, it kind of helps. And another thing, this is kind of controversial, but I kind of try to think about everything that could go wrong before I get on stage. Yeah, sounds weird, but before I get on stage, so that I'm not thinking about it when I'm on stage. So I'm like, if this goes wrong, here's what I'll do to fix it. Or if this goes wrong, I'll be okay with it, because like I can like get past it and do this next, you know, because I kind of think it through in my head. So yeah, it sounds kind of weird, but it helps.
That's actually very interesting.
It's a good way.
Yeah. It's like really visualizing it before it happens, and if it does happen, and you're like, well, it already happened in my brain, so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, also if you fix it in your brain, you calm. I think you are more calm in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm curious to know, we've kind of asked about like some pre-rituals before, but I'm curious now to know if you do have that mistake or if you do have that fumble on stage. I've seen a lot of artists verbally speaking to the microphone and say, oh, I screwed up, or that was the wrong word.
No.
Yeah, it's a rookie mistake, but believe it or not, it happens very often. But I'm curious to know, with your kind of guys' stage confidence that you have, how do you kind of recover from that mistake, or how do you kind of brush it aside as if it never happened? What are some things that you do? Caitlin, what are some things that you've done in past shows if you've had a little mistake or a little flip up? What's kind of some things you do?
So I remember actually just before the self-isolation orders came into play here, I had a show and I decided to play Someone You Loved by Louis Capaldi. And I don't know if you've noticed, but in the song there are very similar verses and it's like the same sentence leading into the next one, but it changes the second time around. Yeah, so if I were to sing it wrong, which I did, I just kind of continued with the first verse again. Yep. You know what I mean? And I think that that's kind of the only way to really do it. If not, if I think before I've definitely done the, oh crap, I messed up, or the, oh shoot, and then kind of laughed it off. And if I can connect with the audience in that way, them knowing I messed up, and us laughing it off, it's okay. But I think definitely if you can avoid it, don't do that. Just continue singing, just continue playing. Oh, you played the wrong chord, just continue playing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Lucia, what's some things maybe you have to add about that?
At one concert, I broke 2 strings of the violin, not 1, 2, in the middle of the concert. I was like, oh no, I kept going with the music. I played at the lower octave for all the songs, and I kept going. Because if you stop, people notice it. If you don't stop, people doesn't notice it. It's sure. It is sure. Another concert, my bow went to the floor while I was playing, because I was sweating so much that it flapped on the floor. I was like dancing, taking again, and keeping going with the song. You have to do it. Show must go on.
Yeah, totally. Naomi, can you think of an experience where you had similar to something like that?
Yeah, actually my most recent show, I had an album launch also right before this whole quarantine happened, like Caitlin. And there was a couple of moments in the show, because you know when you rehearse it so much that it just, I don't know, like you're so in your head about it. So I messed up a couple of times, and I feel like the way that I usually go about it, even though kind of Millie said not to do this, I kind of mention it, but in like a joking way. So I'll be like, oh, that's the wrong word, let's carry on, kind of thing, you know, to make a joke out of it. Because then I feel like, one, the audience sees you as like more human, because, you know, you're kind of just, you know, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just, you know, I messed up and it's okay. And then, you know, you don't seem embarrassed about it, and you don't feel embarrassed about it because you kind of put it straight out there. You're just, you know, if you're laughing at yourself, no one else can laugh at you, kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
That's so true.
Now, my last question for you ladies before we actually sign out for the day, what advice would you give to a newer artist who's in that stage where they just can't seem to get over the fear of anxiety or being present as an artist? What kind of tips would you give for them? Do you want to start this one off, Lucia?
Yeah. I had big problems with the stage at the start of my career. The important thing, it was to think about the moment, to be in the time, now and here and now. A little mantra that can help, because when you're focused on your stress, it's difficult to go to keep him go away. But when you think about that moment, what you are doing, saying, singing, playing, it's different. Even focusing on the head of a person, the hair of a person, it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's some really good advice. Naomi, what kind of things would you give to a newer artist as well? What kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, I think I would just kind of based on my own experience, I would just tell them that you're doing this because you love doing it. So remember that before you go on stage, and remember that you want to have a good time. You don't want to be doing this and dreading it. You want to be there and just be fully in the moment. And, even if you're a super shy, like I'm a super shy person. I was a super shy person before when I was little. And it's just like kind of a mentality. You just kind of flip it and you're like, I want to have a good time with this, so I'm going to. So that kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Caitlin, do you have anything to add to that as well?
I'd say rehearse in front of the mirror. I think that was one of the biggest things for me. Even after I started performing as my stage name, it really helped me to just kind of see what I was going to do. Or if you don't have a mirror and you're practicing, rehearsing, film yourself and then watch it back. So just kind of see. Again, with the sports, it was always us filming ourselves and watching it back, kind of just to see like what we're doing and are you engaging enough with the audience that you're performing for, etc. So
yeah, absolutely. That was our last question for the day. We are out of time. Thank you all for being a part of the show. We are so lucky to have you all on. If you guys are at home watching this table talk on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button to be notified about all of our shows. Vienna Whyte posts. We actually post every Monday to Friday on YouTube, so there's always content to watch. Now, could I get you all one at a time to just say your names and where our audience can find you guys? So can we start off with Naomi? Let's start with you.
So my name is Naomi, and on social media, my handle is This Is Naomi. Naomi spelled with an E, so Neomi. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
I'm Caitlin, otherwise known as Cicaeda, and you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I guess TikTok too, but I don't really use it, as Cicaeda Music. So obviously the pronunciation of my name is a little weird, so it's Cicaeda Music.
I am Lucia La Rezza. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and a little bit on TikTok, but don't do it.
I love that you're all like, just don't follow me on there. I'm going to follow all of you, just so you know. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.